Hey guys, welcome to the first review / explanation of something that isn't a video game. In the future, I do plan on reviewing other board games, movies, and possibly a little bit of music just to change it up a bit. Don't worry though, games will still be reviewed and I have a ton of videos in the works and I actually have quite a bit completed. I'm actually just waiting to get a little bit more publicity before I release these videos because I feel like these videos will have a higher view count than the ones that I've previously created. This video does mark the beginning of Season 1. And I just want to say thank you, guys, for supporting me, and please enjoy the video. Thanks. So I was a huge Goosebumps fan when I was younger, and recently I've been doing a lot of research towards purchasing some Goosebumps-related merchandise from my childhood. One of the things I remembered most was a Goosebumps board game called Terror in the Graveyard, and I actually had a copy of it when I was a kid, but it was incomplete. So we never actually got to play it right or anything like that. So I got onto eBay to look for a complete copy of it, and something in the back of my mind just screamed Creepy Freaks for some reason. I do remember actually walking into a Blockbuster when I was probably like 7 or 8 to rent some N64 games, and they actually sold Creepy Freaks there. And I remember asking my dad to get one, and I got a package, and for some reason it was just stored away in the back of my mind for a long time, but it just came back to me at that moment when I was on eBay. So I actually started doing a lot of research about Creepy Freaks, and I remembered them being like toys or something, but I wasn't sure. It turns out that it's actually a board game as well as a toy, but more oriented towards strategy than sheer dumb luck, like the Goosebumps game. So on a whim, I actually bought an entire case of the figures from an online seller for fairly cheap. So after getting the set and playing with it for a bit, I actually thought I might make a video guide on how to play it, seeing as the game is fairly cheap. And most people that do play video games at one point in time have played board games, so I thought this would just be an opportunity for them to cash in on a cheap board game that's pretty decent fun and has a lot of cool figurines. So without any more rambling, let's just jump into it. And if this video does happen to lack any more humor than my other videos, it's because it's more of a guide than a review. Because I actually felt as if I knew just enough about it to play it pretty well, and not enough about it to actually make statements about it and to actually like criticize the gameplay. So let's just go ahead and jump right into it. So Creepy Freaks is a turn-based tabletop strategy game where you manipulate miniatures known as freaks, which are monsters that all have different type variants and movement patterns. There are 54 Creepy Freaks in total, 2 of which are actually kids known as Creepy Leaders. The kids kind of work as a king in chess, except they do significantly more damage than freaks and have optimal movement patterns. Unfortunately, I only have 48 of the total Creepy Freaks, and I have neither of the 2 freaky leaders. The objective of the game is to scare the opponent's freaks off the board. At the start of the game, both players come to an agreement on how many freaks they should play with, then take turns choosing their freaks from the pool one by one. After the freaks have been chosen, each player places their freaks on the back row of an 8x8 chessboard and begin the game. Each player takes a turn rolling a dice and can move 1 freak per turn in any direction that their movement bars allow up to the number of spaces as indicated by the dice. The mechanics of scaring an opponent's freak works as follows. You must be in a tile directly adjacent to the freak you are trying to scare. You must have a movement bar corresponding to the direction you wish to scare. You only do 1 damage counter unless your opponent's freak has a damage counter weak to your type. In that case, you do that many damage counters. And I'll explain more and actually show you what that means here in a little bit. To win the game, all you have to do is scare all of your opponent's freaks off the board. Now that we have discussed how the game works, let's talk about types and strategies. There are 14 different types in Creepy Freaks. Biohazard type, Brains type, Cloud type, Copy type, Critters, Eye type, Hairballs type, Mouth type, Potty type, Snot type, Sound type, Star type, Stink type, and Vomit type. None of the types have a weakness specific to their type. Rather, each freak has its own specific weaknesses regardless of type. Except that all freaks are weak against Star type, which is actually the type that the freaky leaders are. When picking your freaks, try and counterpick against your opponent or find a general weakness in your opponent's team. Also choose freaks with good movement patterns. Freaks may only be able to move and scare once per turn, but freaks scare all of your opponent's freaks within the vicinity of its own movement bars. Another tip is to place the freaks at the beginning strategically. For instance, place a freak with an optimal movement pattern in its ideal position. Some freaks have alternates of themselves. Make sure you check these alternates, as some may be a better choice. For instance, Pottymouth and John. Both of them they actually look exactly the same. They just have their color palette swapped, except for Pottymouth is weaker than John. Pottymouth has only 5 health indication points, so he can ideally only take 5 damage from types that he's not weak against. But he does have a type that he's weak against that fills up his last health indicator. So if he were to be attacked by a booger type creepy freak, then he would die the next turn if he was attacked again. When John has 7 health indicator points, and on top of him having 7 health indicator points, he doesn't have one that fits his last indicator. And he has a type that he's weak against that's uncommon, which is brain type. So ideally, John is a better choice than Pottymouth, even though they look identical. So make sure you check out those differentials and alternates. So actually, at this point, I think I've actually recorded a game of Creepy Freaks for you guys to watch, and I'm actually going to play through it with another person and commentate on it. So let's go ahead and start that, I guess. Okay guys, so I know this is like the first time I'm actually showing myself on the internet, but I just thought it would be cool to, I guess, have myself commentating on the Creepy Freaks game I'm about to play for you. At this moment, it looks like my opponent has Patches, Eyesore, Jarhead, Socket, and Bow Ogre. So, from the top down, my opponent, who's on the left side, has Jarhead, Eyesore, Bow Ogre, Socket, and Patches. And then on my side, I'm playing on the right, I have Piper, Silent but Deadly, John, Monster Under the Bed, and Skeleton. So I'm going to go ahead and get started here. So we're about to actually place our freaks on the board. And once we do that, we'll get the game started. We didn't actually have physical dice, so we ended up using my phone with a dice app to roll the dice. But it's whatever. So I'm trying to place my freaks in an optimal position, so that way they can get around the board more freely. See how I place Skellhomie kind of in a corner? His movement pattern is only diagonals, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so he can only move, whatever, corners, pretty much. So I placed him there, and we'll see what he does. I honestly cannot read what movement I had, what I rolled with my dice. But I guess I'm going to go first, and I send out Monster Under the Bed into the center of the field and pass the dice. I don't really know what I was thinking here. Since the shitty thing is that this game, I just know how to play it, so I really didn't have very much strategy going into it besides trying to counterpick what my opponent had picked and trying to get some types that could knock out some of his freaks fairly easily. So she sends out Socket, and I think she only rolled 1 at that point, yeah, so she just puts out a freak just to get in there, I guess, and it's my turn, so I'm thinking about putting Piper out there, because he is very strong against, I think, like three of his creeps. So my Piper is strong against 3 of my opponent's creeps, which is good, or freaks, or whatever you want to call them. So I send him out there, but I'm pretty sure I fuck up because I think he just about gets knocked out really early game. Yeah, yep, that's exactly what happens. So I get attacked right here by Eyesore, and I think I go down all the way to my last damage counter before I die, pretty much. So it was a huge mistake on my part right there. But I mean, what can I do? I guess it's just a game. This is my opponent's turn. She just attacked, and now it's my turn. So let's see here. At this point, I think I'm going to. Well, fuck. Okay, so it looks like I'm going to take Silent but Deadly out and get him in there, in that groove, it looks like. Let's see how that goes. Nope. Totally just keep him stationary. Might as well, I guess. This kind of sucks, because I've almost lost my first creep here at the beginning of the match. Which is pretty shitty, but, I mean... I end up winning this game. I played it probably about 20 times now. I end up winning this game, but probably not by very much. Maybe like one creep, I think. So she moves her jar head all the way onto my side of the field here. And I think it's my turn now. I think I actually send John over there because his jar head has less health counters than my John does. So I should be able to just take him out by brute force. I actually move... No, I don't do that, actually. I think I do that next turn. I actually move my Silent but Deadly in and attack his Eyesore, which I think his Eyesore is weak against my Silent but Deadly. And that gives me kind of an advantage here. So now I pass it off. And it's my opponent's turn here. So... Once again, this game is not really all that popular. I think it's played similarly to HeroClix. That's what I've heard from the internet, but I'm not actually 100% sure. I do plan on actually getting some HeroClix here in the future to review and play a game of. So we'll see if that's true or not. But if it is, that'd be cool. If it's not, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's just a game. Alright, so right now we kind of have a clusterfuck here in the middle. We've got Monster Under the Bed up against, or, you know, just adjacent to Teddy, and then Piper has actually just knocked out Eyesore, so that's good. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Silent but Deadly was effective against Eyesore, so I took Eyesore out to his first to last damage counter and then attacked him with Piper and took him out. So it actually looks like, yeah, she just attacked me with, I keep saying she and he, but it's a she. Sorry, just throwing it out there. I mean, whatever. I just keep messing up saying the people's names or whatever. But so Patches actually attacks Monster Under the Bed, and my Monster Under the Bed and my Silent but Deadly are kind of like my tanks on the field. That's why I threw them out there first with my, you know, like my hyper offensive champion or whatever, however you want to call it, hyper offensive freak, which was planning on being Piper because he was strong against the majority of the freaks when Monster Under the Bed and Silent but Deadly could take a lot of damage and just get in there and start brute forcing down the ones that I was afraid about. Because some of her freaks were either had types that I didn't necessarily pick against, types that I didn't pick against, and some of them were just types that were just hard to play against because they had good indicators. They had good health spots or whatever. Those little dots on the side, they're pretty well. So it looks like she finally takes out my Piper with her Bow Ogre. I accidentally moved her Bow Ogre back one space, so I fix it right now, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, there we go. Fix it. Alright. So now we've got these on the field here. We've got Jarhead adjacent to John. Silent but Deadly's kind of out in the middle there. I think I'm going to move him up towards Bow Ogre. Monster Under the Bed is kind of in an awkward position because he's being faced up against 3 of the freaks there. So I thought that at that point I was going to lose my Monster Under the Bed. But it turns out she starts attacking me with Jarhead, I'm pretty sure, early in. So I move John up close and I attack. Using John, I attack her Jarhead and get a damage counter in. And I've left Skelehomie pretty much untouched because he has no weaknesses and he has the copycat type. So I can I can pretty much choose a type off of the board, any type that I or my opponent is playing, and use that as my type when I attack. So I want to save him until she makes a move where I can come up in at an angle and attack and get good damage in. So that's pretty much what my plan was with Skellahomie at this point. So we're still kind of clusterfucked here in the middle. Everybody's kind of just hanging out there. So I do move Skellahomie in at this point. And I'm pretty sure I attack with John. Yeah, I attack with John and I attack Jarhead. So Jarhead's going to take some damage at this point. Again, he's been taking damage the whole game. I'm also watching the video, so if you see me staring off to the side here, I'm actually just looking off at the video that you're watching yourself right now. So let's see what she does here. I'm actually not too sure at this point. Yeah, this game takes a little bit of thinking, because you gotta remember there's ways that you can get around being attacked and stuff by planting yourself in a position where your opponent can't move and can't attack you. So it looks like she brings Bow Ogre close and attacks my Silent but Deadly. So I take some damage there. Once again, that was my thought process, is that I would throw them out there into the open where they could be attacked quite often, but they don't take that much damage from her team. So I had good luck, actually. I was glad that actually happened, or that my plan worked. Okay, so I move Skellahomie in and I copy eye sockets. If I'm not mistaken, yeah, socket. I copy his moveset. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I copy his type and I attack Teddy, if I'm not mistaken. That's who's on the board. So he was really weak to that. He was really weak to that type. So I got him down to his last damage counter. So I think next turn I will be able to take him out as well. At this point, though, the battle is pretty even. I've taken a lot of damage on John, and a lot of damage on Silent but Deadly. Or actually, yeah, just pretty much just Silent but Deadly and Monster in the Bed, not necessarily John. I think John was winning. Yeah, that's why she moved Jarhead back right now. It looks like just Silent but Deadly and Monster in the Bed were taking all the damage, and Skellahomie and John were not. So that's good. So at this point, I attack her with, I think I attack her with Silent but Deadly. Yeah, I just attacked Bow Ogre with Silent but Deadly. So he did take a damage counter there. Or no, my stupid ass. It was still her turn. She attacked me. She attacked my Silent but Deadly. And I took a damage counter there again. So let's see what goes on next. So I moved John up, it looks like. Yep, I moved John up. And I think, yeah, I attacked Jarhead again. So pretty much John is just being really aggressive towards Jarhead. I keep moving him in there to try to get damage in really quickly and try to take him out, because I think he's actually the main. He was their hyper offensive on their team that was going to take out the majority of my team. So for some reason she moved him out there really far out there on my side of the board, but she didn't have anybody to protect her or anybody to move in and take damage with her. So it's her turn at the moment. Let's see what she does here. Okay, so she moves Bow Ogre to Monster in the Bed, and she attacks Monster in the Bed, and I take damage. So what's happening off screen whenever I take my hand and I move it off screen is I'm just taking them and clicking them over. So that way we can get the damage in there. So yeah, Bow Ogre has just attacked me, and I can't attack him back the way that I'm facing at the moment. Monster Under the Bed's movement sets is everything besides his two sides. He's vulnerable from the sides. So that was a good move on her part, moving Bow Ogre in there to be able to attack me from the side. Okay. So I'm pretty sure I take Jarhead out at this point with John. Yeah, I do. I've just taken him out. So now John has completed taking out Jarhead, so now I'm going to use him for other purposes. So let's see what goes on now. Okay, so it's her turn. Let's see who's moving in. This game, man. I mean, we had to think somewhat about it, just because, you know, it's not like a game that I've played like League of Legends or Risk or something like that, where I know what to do, or Civilization, where I know what to do at all times and micromanage and do all this stuff. This game was a game that I've only played a couple times, so I needed to be able to think of what I was going to do here. So it looks like she brought Teddy down a little bit, and I attack her with Skelehomie again. And I think at this point I take out Teddy. No, Teddy's still in, yeah. I think this is his last damage counter. Nope, it's taken out. I just keep going back and forth with that shit. This is like my first time commentating as well, so that should be lesson learned. I guess next time I'll have to at least write some script out or whatever, you know. But yeah, okay, so I've taken Teddy out at this point, and at this point, yeah, it looks like it's Socket and Bow Ogre versus Monster Under the Bed, Skelehomie, Silent But Deadly, and John. So, this is where it kind of gets, not intense, but, you know, it doesn't get sped up a lot, because Bow Ogre and Socket were the ones that I was worried about, along with Jarhead, because her defensives were Socket and Bow Ogre, and they didn't have any types that I could do a lot of damage to. I couldn't do any damage, pretty much, to these two freaks. So this was kind of just the waiting game. I did have the numbers on my side, but at this point, Silent But Deadly and Monster Under the Bed had taken a lot of damage, and Skelehomie and John hadn't. John does have pretty decent life on him, but Bow Ogre was Booger type, and he took me down about halfway, about half health. That John's halfway point was Booger type, so I was going to get at least 3 damage counters knocked off by him. So that was a stupid decision of me to move him back in front of Bow Ogre, because he does have a forward movement pattern. So it's her turn, and she's going to take Socket up into the battle area, because once again we're just getting clusterfuck here in the middle. So we've got all of these different freaks here in the middle just hanging out. And it looks like she attacks my Monster Under the Bed, this is probably his last damage counter. I'm pretty sure he'll get knocked out either next turn or the turn before it. So, that's just how that goes. It's my turn, and it looks like I take Monster Under the Bed and move him up, and then attack Socket, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, I attack Socket, so he can start taking some damage here. But his movement pattern was so straightforward. I should have just moved straight up and then attacked him diagonally, so that way he would have had to move over before he attacked me. But it didn't look like that was going to happen. So she moves the Bow Ogre up to the front of John and attacks John. This is where I had taken a lot of damage. As you can tell, John had moved pretty decently to the side there after being attacked a couple times by Jarhead. So now it's my turn. I move Silent But Deadly in to kind of close the gap between Bow Ogre and John, and he takes some damage there. And at this point, I do think I am kind of worried, because Silent But Deadly and Monster Under the Bed were almost being pretty much one-hitted away. So I was kind of thinking that she was going to pretty much fuck me over, but I ended up doing something. I guess it happens a little bit. Once again, it's kind of hard to commentate. I mean, I remember playing the game. It was only maybe an hour ago, but still, it's kind of hard to just commentate on this, I guess. So, let's see here. I do see how this can kind of be boring unless you're playing it. But I do hope that you guys do try and play it. This was kind of just a bonus feature at the end anyways. I mean, I wasn't originally going to commentate on the game, but I thought I might go ahead and try it, just to get a little bit more time in on the video. So she brings up Socket, or no, I think it's my turn. Socket kind of came in there, and it looks like she took out Silent But Deadly has been knocked out at this point. So it's Bow Ogre and Socket are pretty much trying to corner my John in, because my John is kind of my damage dealer at this point. Besides Skelehomie. Oh no, she brings Socket over. Yeah, she brings Socket over, and she's gonna knock out my Monster Under the Bed at this point. Or no, next turn is Monster Under the Bed's last turn. He is pretty bulky. Him and Silent But Deadly have the same amount of bulkiness. In fact, I would suggest grabbing one or the other, just to make sure you have a dedicated tanky freak on your team, I guess. So I bring in Skelehomie, actually, and then I attack with John. just to kind of block him off from movement, because he can't jump me, so the only ways he can go actually are backwards and to the side. And with John, I can go forwards, so if he does that, I can still go forwards. That was kind of my plan there, was to kind of just get him off of me a little bit. But she does move up Socket to try and combat that a little bit, and she attacks my Skelehomie. So Skelehomie does take another damage counter at this point. I'm pretty sure at this point Skelehomie has like 2 hits left, John has about 3 or 4, and Monster Under the Bed is almost out. Pretty much knocked out of the game. So I move Monster Under the Bed in to close the gap there, and I attack Ratchet, or Socket. And Socket is almost out, if I'm not mistaken, or out. Yeah, he's going to be out on the next turn, I'm almost 100% sure. So I'm still worried about Bo Ogre, even though I've attacked Bo Ogre more. So it's now her turn. I'm pretty sure at this point she moves Bo Ogre completely out, just to try to draw the attention towards Socket, so that way we can go ahead and knock him out pretty much, or he would be drawing the attention, so that way she could try to come up with a plan to get one of the other freaks out. So she's rolled, and at this point she's pretty much thinking about what she should do, and yeah, she does. She moves Bo Ogre back, so that way we're focused on Socket. So now it's my turn, and if I'm not mistaken, I knock Socket out. Or, no, she does attack me. Yeah, she can move and attack with 2 different freaks. So she does attack me with Socket and takes Monster Under the Bed out, and moves Bo Ogre out. So that was a good play right there. So I was kind of worried at this point too, because it's 2-on-2 still. And Skelehomie's movement pattern isn't optimal. He is a very good freak, just because he has no weaknesses and he has the copycat ability. But his movement pattern is very, 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 very awkward. It's only diagonals, and he does only have 4 damage counters. So she moves in with Bo Ogre and attacks me. But my plan was that John's movement pattern is forward. So what I was going to try to do was draw her Bo Ogre back out with Skelehomie and then move John in to attack at this point. And I'm pretty sure that's what happens, is I move Skelehomie out again. Yeah, that's what's happening. Yep. Move Skelehomie out, and then on my next turn I bring John in to attack. So we're going to see what she's going to do here. I think this is where she messes up, because it's kind of a defensive game right now, but she just brings Bo Ogre straight into John and attacks John. And at this point, John only has like two damage counters left. He can only be attacked twice. So then I attack John. I attack Bo Ogre with John, and I'm pretty sure at this point I knock Bo Ogre out. Or Bo Ogre, once again, he was the one I was worried about. Yeah, he still has 1 or 2 damage counters left. He can only be attacked once or twice more. So it's her turn, and we're just going to see what's going to happen here. Her Socket's kind of out of play, really. That's all, yeah, all she could do really was just bring it in here. Withdraw it, as she did Bo Ogre earlier. But at this point, I move Socket, so that way I can get into an adjacent tile, so I can move towards Socket if I have to, and I'm pretty sure I knock out, yeah, I knocked out Bo Ogre. So at this point, I'm almost 100% certain that I've won, because Socket has pretty much lost. And at this point, I'm pretty sure, yeah, she gave up. So I'm pretty sure she's just going to move Socket towards me, so that way I can end it. So we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that's pretty much what's happening. Well, anyways, I do hope that you guys enjoyed this commentary. I will try and get some better quality footage of a couple more Creepy Freaks games with more freaks and probably other players. There's a way to play it 4 players on all sides of the board. So we are going to try to get that done as well and get that in, because this game is kind of fun. It's very cheap. I mean, I literally picked this entire setup of over like 48 Creepy Freaks, and they're all unique. So it's kind of like Pokemon in this sense. But I picked up the entire set for only like $24 with shipping. Like all brand new. So I would suggest trying it out. So, yep, it looks like that's it. I just attacked her Socket with John, and it looks like she is now going to be taken out. Or it's her turn, she's going to attack me, and I'm going to attack her, and then she's out. I did really enjoy doing this commentary. I do have some videos literally completed. Like my Pokemon Stadium 2 videos literally completed. So that will be the next video that's going to be released. After that, we'll see what comes up. I would appreciate it if you guys gave me some feedback below. Told me what you thought was, what you wanted to see. And that's pretty much it.